Hi Year 5 and welcome to our new geography topic, the Middle East. This term in geography we will be looking at the region, we'll be looking at elements of physical and human geography, and we will also be looking at the Middle East in our literacy topic where we will examine the civil war in Lebanon in our book Oranges in No Man's Land. So what is the Middle East? Well, the Middle East is a geographical region rather than a continent. It's a vast region with a total area of nearly 3.5 million square miles. That's 9 million square kilometres. It is only slightly smaller than the United States, and Saudi Arabia is the largest of the core countries in the Middle East. Bahrain, which is an island nation in the Persian Gulf, is the smallest of the Middle Eastern states. So where is the Middle East? Well, the region of the Middle East lies between Europe and Eastern Asia, countries like China, Japan, Singapore, etc. The Middle East is seen as a bridge between Europe and the Far East. It encompasses some culturally European countries such as Cyprus and Israel, but mainly contains Arab countries such as Saudi Arabia, Iran and Iraq. The region itself is geographically classified as Asia and belongs to the continent of Asia. Those of you who remember how to use a map, you might remember that we can locate things by using grid references. On a globe or an atlas which covers the whole world, instead of a grid, we have lines of longitude and latitude. Lines of latitude run horizontally across the globe, while lines of longitude run vertically across the globe. The lines of latitude are based around the equator, which runs round the centre of the Earth like a belt, whereas lines of longitude go either side of the prime meridian line, sometimes called the Greenwich Meridian Time, which actually runs through the UK. These lines of longitude also determine time zones, and you can see that these lines wrap around the Earth to form a grid, and locations can be found by using degrees of latitude and degrees of longitude. So let's see how lines of longitude and latitude help us find places on an atlas. So let's look at Tehran. Tehran is here. So what we do is we pick it, and we follow the line back on the chart to the lines of latitude, and you can see that Tehran falls about halfway between 30 degrees and 40 degrees north of the equator, which you can see is down here. So it's at about 35 degrees north. And now let's find the longitude. So the longitude's here, we follow this down, and you can see it's between 50 and 60 degrees east, but it's closer to 50, so I will say it's 52. So if we look at that, that's 35 degrees north and 52 degrees east. Will bring you to Tehran on the map. So how many countries are in the Middle East? Officially, there are 17 countries making up the region. These include Bahrain, Cyprus, Egypt, Iran, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Oman, Palestine, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Turkey, the United Arab Emirates or the UAE, and finally, Yemen. So why is the Middle East important? Although the Middle East gets a lot of negative attention in the news these days for things such as terrorism, civil war, hunger, famine, the Middle East was the cradle of civilization, and Mesopotamia, the area between the river Tigris and the Euphrates, was one of the places where amazing ancient civilizations and people developed. Added to that, we get people like the Sumerians, the Egyptians, the Babylonians, all coming out of the Middle East. And also, the three monotheistic faiths of the world, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all have their roots in this region. Judaism and Christianity in Israel, and Islam in Saudi Arabia. Key physical features of the Middle East include mountains, plateaus, which are flat-topped hills, and deserts. On the north of the region, it's almost completely ringed by mountain ranges. There are lesser chains of hills and mountains which extend along the coastal areas of the eastern Mediterranean. The Arabian Peninsula, which makes up more than 1/4 of the Middle East's area, is bounded by mountainous heights in the west and the south. Most of the region's interior is flat and contains some of the world's most forbidding deserts. Among them, the Libyan, or the Western Desert, the Arabian, or the Eastern Desert, and the aptly named Rub al-Khali, or Empty Quarter, of Saudi Arabia. In addition to that, there are fertile river valleys. The region's two major river systems are the Nile and the Tigris and Euphrates. The Nile, the world's longest river, is the lifeblood of Egypt, most of which is otherwise desert. The Tigris and the Euphrates rise in the mountains of Turkey. They flow through Syria and join in Iraq, there forming the region known as Mesopotamia, meaning land between the rivers in Greek. These river valleys contain much of the region's limited fertile land and are the most densely populated areas, and it was here that the first known civilizations arose thousands of years ago. The climate of the Middle East, well, it's a hot, dry land. There is hot, dry weather which is common for most of the year, except in the highest mountains, where there is frequent snow. The rainy season in most places lasts from about October till April. In the southern part of the Arabian Peninsula, rain comes mainly between May and September, but there is only light, brief rainfall in most of the region, and in some areas it never rains at all. In the deserts, which are baked by the blazing sun, the daytime temperature often rises to more than 125 degrees Fahrenheit or 52 degrees Celsius. Yet at night, the deserts are cool and sometimes even cold. Life itself in the Middle East has long been dependent upon the amount and location of water. Rain-bearing winds are often unable to penetrate into the interior of the region because they are blocked by the surrounding mountains. The best watered areas are usually the strips of land lying between the mountains and the sea, but the Middle East generally suffers from a severe shortage of water due to limited rainfall. The availability of water in the region has largely affected human geography. The amount of available water limited the farmers' choices of crops. It also compelled the nomads, who were travelling from place to place seeking grazing land for their herds, to rely on goats, sheep and camel, since cattle could not easily survive in the harsh, dry environment. The location of sources of water also determined the routes of travel and trade. From earliest times, the power of Middle Eastern empires depended on ready supplies of water. It's no accident that the valleys of the Nile and the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers were, and remain, main centres of life in the region. Some of the oldest irrigation systems in the world were developed in the Middle East. Many are still in use along the newer systems. Dams and distilling seawater. Modern methods of providing regular supplies of water in the region include the Aswan High Dam, which irrigates large areas of Egypt and provides hydroelectric power as well. In Israel, a pipeline system has been built to divert water from the Jordan River to the desert areas of the Negev. Turkey in 1990 completed the Great Ataturk Dam to harness the waters of the Euphrates River. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and other countries of the Arabian Peninsula are converting seawater into drinking water by various distilling processes, which also take place on our island of Cyprus. The success of programmes to raise the standards of living throughout the Middle East depend to a large extent on the outcome of the various water projects. Early Middle Eastern civilization developed great cities, and cities continue to play an important role in the life of the region today. The largest city of the Middle East is Cairo, the capital of Egypt. Founded by Arab conquerors around AD 900, it has a population of about 6 million in the city and some 14 million in the suburbs altogether. The oldest Egyptian port city of Alexandria, which was rebuilt by Alexander the Great around 300 BC, was famed for its great library, the largest in the ancient world. Istanbul, the major city of Turkey, lies on one of the world's most historic sites, spanning Europe and Asia. As Constantinople, it was once the capital of the Roman and Byzantine empires. Baghdad, the capital city of Iraq, lies on the Euphrates River. Founded around AD 700, it was the seat of the Abbasid dynasty of Muslim rulers, whose most renowned figure was Harun al-Rashid, famed in the West as the Caliph in the Arabian Nights stories. Damascus, Syria's capital, is one of the world's oldest cities, dating back to at least 732 BC. It was the site of St. Paul's conversion to Christianity, and from AD 66 to around 750 served as the capital of the Muslim Umayyad dynasty. The importance of Jerusalem, Israel's capital, is far greater than its size, containing as it does places holy to Jews, to Christians, and to Muslims. And Tehran, the capital of Iran, is a relatively new city by Middle Eastern standards, first gaining prominence around the year 1500.